Time is running out on this planet. In this video, I'm going to show you how to shift to a path of advanced ascension. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. In this video, I'm going to show you how to empower yourself on a path of advanced ascension. I'll also show you the importance of your 7 main chakras and how they factor into your ascension process. Now, most of the time, we humans are used to dealing with our lives in a very piecemeal way. But that's not going to work anymore. We need to understand how to empower ourselves holistically. Right now, we have 2 overlapping things happening on this planet. The first is that we have an actual AI alien takeover of this planet. And the second thing is that we're dealing with a group of AI minions or controllers who want to trap us in a digital prison that they call the Great R. Now, hopefully you know what R stands for, because I'm not allowed to say that here. Let's just say that it has to do with this guy. So both of these things are tied together. We have the larger AI engulfing this planet, and then we have these crazy controllers who want to destroy what we already have. And then we have a third issue, which is that it is imperative that we ascend out of this situation with our souls intact. One of the issues that I see on this earth is that people have a tendency to either go to extremes or go into denial about these situations. For example, you have some spiritual people who want to live in denial of the 2 overlapping problems that I just described. And then on the other hand, you have people who are either on board with these 2 overlapping issues, or you have people who are fighting against these issues in a physical way. So you actually have 3 camps. One, you have spiritual people who don't want to think about any of this and would rather presume that the universe or someone else will handle it all. And 2, you have people who are on board with all of this negativity and who support it. And then 3, you have people who are fighting against it. Now, most people are inclined to just pick one of these 3 sides and focus on that. The only problem with this is that you're not dealing with reality in a holistic way. You're only focusing on a partial fragment of this reality. Advanced ascension requires that you are cognizant about all of it. It requires that you are 100% present with the entirety of the situation, but without getting overwhelmed by it. It requires that you experience yourself in a state of wholeness, rather than only being present in a certain fragmented part of the problem. Now, this does not mean that you take on all of that energy. Please don't do that. It just means that you are able to be functionally aware while still maintaining the integrity of your own space and your own energy. Now, we can focus only on spirituality, but in that case, we will lose a lot of leverage in our consciousness. That's kind of like living in your upper chakras and ignoring the rest. The reason that this is insufficient is because the situation on this planet affects all of our chakras, which means that we need to be fully present on all of these levels. Now, I've said many times that the enemies of this biological planet operate on physical and on metaphysical levels. They don't only operate at the level of our 5 physical senses. The off-planet, more intelligent enemies, meaning that they're more intelligent than our ridiculous politicians and controllers, these off-planet, more intelligent enemies are actually focused on all of our chakras. You can't transition a species without including at least some knowledge of all of their main chakras, which are our primary energy centers. So we need to be present in all of our chakras according to the influences of the reality that we live in. See, if you're just spiritually oriented, then you're only present up here. And then you're going to find yourself in a wholly inadequate place, because the impact that the controllers are having on your lower chakras will filter up into your higher chakras and weaken those higher chakras considerably. And you won't even know it because you have allowed a certain level of unconsciousness into your system. So let's talk about how the controllers, who, as I said, always operate at metaphysical levels, are trying to take control of us through all 7 of our main chakras. In knowing this, you will be able to protect yourself and remain capable of advanced ascension. So I'm going to go over each of the 7 main chakras and explain exactly how they are trying to dismantle the energy and the integrity of these chakras and turn them into something else. So let's start with the root chakra, which is the lowest chakra in the body. This chakra is associated with our physical needs in life and with our physical survival. It's about feeling grounded and physically secure. The controllers are attacking this chakra in very dramatic ways. They are doing this by destroying our means for survival and security. They are in the process of taking down our transportation systems, energy systems, food production and distribution systems, and even our money systems. Their intention is to remove and destroy all of these physical systems that are necessary for our survival and security. So when we perceive and experience these things happening all around us, all over the planet, it starts to create a disruption in that root chakra if we're not aware that it's happening and we're not making those connections. Now, the next chakra is the sacral chakra. This chakra is mostly associated with creativity, sexuality, and self-worth. They are also attacking this chakra in huge ways that are very, very destructive. Sexuality and creativity are products of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The controllers are in the process of destroying the masculine and feminine aspects of our species. They intend to de-genderize us, meaning that they do not want us to have any gender at all. This is what the whole trans movement is all about. It means transhuman or transitioning out of being human. This is what you do when you want to create androids out of a biological species. In that case, gender or sexuality is a liability, so it's important to remove that aspect from the species in order to make your transition. When you eliminate the foundation of male and female, you also eliminate the power to create at the highest level. You have perfectly set the stage for a sexless species of highly controllable entities or a hybrid biological species of androids. And because this chakra is also associated with self-worth, in doing this, you literally destroy a person's self-worth because you're kind of telling them that who and what they are is wrong or doesn't exist. So at a species level, this chakra is being absolutely destroyed. Now, so far we can see how they are destroying and destabilizing our two lower chakras in massive ways. So now let's move on to the solar plexus. This is the chakra of our personal power. It's related to self-esteem and self-confidence. They are massively attacking this chakra using fear, terror, and manipulation. They have spent the past 2 or 3 years attacking us with fear about our very lives. During the pandemic, they completely destroyed people's sense of having an innate power to stay alive. Self-confidence was attacked by instilling feelings of helplessness in people. And self-esteem was attacked by telling us that the only way you're acceptable in society was if you obeyed the controller's bizarre edicts. By attacking the solar plexus, you can usurp a person's power and gain control over their energy using fear. And that's what they've been doing for the past 3 years. Now let's look at the heart chakra. When our heart chakra is healthy, we feel love and connection with each other and also with the rest of nature. The heart chakra is all about love and connection. Once again, the controllers massively attacked this chakra. They divided us from each other with social distancing. In some places, people were told to not even look at another human being who they might cross paths with. They pitted people, friends, and families against one another. They separated children from friends and from extended family members. They made sure that we never saw people's faces or their expressions, and that we never saw a smile, because they forced us to cover our faces with cloth. They told us to shut down our compassion, and people were forced to die alone. Being in each other's company was portrayed as being a possible death sentence. So the controllers have been relentless in attacking the heart chakra. Now let's move up to the throat chakra. The throat chakra is all about communication and expression. It's easy to see the massive attack on this chakra. It's called censorship. See, communication and expression are one and the same. It's how you express your being. When you shut down communication and only allow controlled speech, you essentially imprison people in their own minds. When there is no meaningful exchange of ideas allowed, a person's ability to think begins to shrink instead of expand. We become locked down and unable to express ourselves authentically. We not only control our own speech, we also inevitably control our thoughts as well. It's a very serious thing to attack the throat chakra, because when you attack a person's ability to think and speak freely, you directly attack a person's ability to evolve. So censorship is a direct and deliberate attack on this chakra. Okay, so next is the third eye chakra. This chakra is about intuition, imagination, and one's ability to see reality. The controllers attack this chakra by telling us what to see as reality. They inundate us with lies and propaganda all day long through the media and social media, which is not really social because it's highly controlled. This way, they can create massive distortion in this chakra. It can also cause major blockages in this chakra. We see evidence of this when people are unable to accommodate the views of another human being. We see it when people are so locked down in one way of looking at things that they will feel threatened by anyone who doesn't see things their way and are therefore more likely to attack that person as an adversary. Let me give you an interesting example of how TikTok is used to manipulate people in this way. Have you ever wondered why so many stupid things and dumb dances trend on that platform? Unbeknownst to most people, certain employees at TikTok have a literal button that they can press to make anyone they want go viral. They call it giving heat to that post. This is how they manipulate the platform. So TikTok has certain agendas of manipulation depending on the country they're in. If they want to dumb down a certain population, it's easy to do. For example, let's say they want to influence young people. They can scan the platform and find a young person doing something really stupid. All they have to do is push a button and give that person heat, and their posts will artificially blow up. I mean, they say it's a literal button that they push. Anyway, this leads to millions of young people thinking that because this stupid post went viral, then it must be cool. It must be what people want. So thousands more begin to copy whatever it is. And the manipulators behind the screen can control how fast and where this so-called viral trend goes. But it's all fake. So you could have millions of young people doing something really stupid because they have been manipulated into thinking that it's something desirable and cool, when the truth is that none of it was even real. But this is what people will see as reality. This is what people will see and believe is spontaneous, natural human reality. If you do this enough times and in enough ways, you can control the consciousness of people and control what they perceive as real. You can very easily shrink the intelligence level of an entire population. And it's not a stretch to imagine that TikTok could literally plant fake posts and eventually fake people, especially with AI, just to get certain trends started. I mean, I kind of expect that to happen at some point if it hasn't already. Now, they also manipulate the wider population with this tactic because other people see these trends and then they assume that everyone's on TikTok and that there's lots of traffic there. So then they go on there themselves to share in the artificial glory of it all. And thus TikTok is able to suck up more and more and more human beings that they can manipulate in this process. Now, all of this affects the third eye chakra because it affects what people see as reality when in truth, it's all fake. And that's just one very tiny example of how the controllers are massively attacking our third eye chakra. Okay, now let's move on to the final main chakra, which is the crown chakra. This is the chakra of spirituality and enlightenment. It's what connects us to higher, more expanded dimensions. It's the chakra of our higher intelligence. This is a very important chakra because it connects to all of the other chakras. What the controllers are trying to do is to weaken, distort, and attack all of the other chakras so they can get us to open up our crown chakra to an alternate dimension of an AI universe. By breaking down our other chakras, they dramatically weaken the crown chakra. This creates a massive vulnerability to shifting our consciousness into AI. If you want to witness the breakdown of the crown chakra, just look at how people are literally addicted to their screens. Have you ever noticed that when you spend too much time in front of a computer, a smartphone, or a tablet, that you lose touch with reality around you and with your physical body? Hours of time can go by and you won't even notice it. You might even forget that you have a body. It's because you are literally being drawn into another dimension that we call cyberspace. This is why they want everyone in the metaverse. We are being collectively transitioned as a species into an alternate artificial AI universe. So now you can see that they are deliberately attacking all of our chakras. They cannot turn us into an AI species unless they can get away with this. And this is why we need to be fully present with all of it. If we ignore any part of this, we cannot ascend. So basically, you want to stay in full awareness of how each of your chakras is being attacked so you can prevent the influence of those attacks. You can prevent the influence simply by taking full ownership of each of those chakras. This is the only way to stay fully present so that you have a chance to ascend and evolve out of this situation. And by the way, let me point out that there is an interesting piece of propaganda going around that our chakras are bad and that they're really a trap. Well, that's a great way to get people to dislodge from owning that very important energetic aspect of themselves, which is exactly what the controllers hope for. This belief that chakras are bad is totally awesome for their nefarious agenda. See, if you think that the answer is to go unconscious or to withdraw from any of these areas, then you're kind of like a sitting duck. Now, people who only stay in the upper chakras because they want to be spiritual are extremely vulnerable to attack and manipulation of the lower chakras. And those attacks will filter up and create massive distortions in the upper chakras. Now, if you've been following me, you know that I occasionally bring up the following question. Why are so many people willing to believe in things and stories that they cannot see instead of believing what is happening before their very eyes? Why do people believe that invisible ETs are going to save us? Or that the invisible white hats are really in control? Or that the light has already won? There are countless and fantastical stories about so-called realities, none of which can provide any real evidence whatsoever. Well, there's a simple explanation for this. If you are in denial about all of the influences that these controllers are having on your lower chakras, then your third eye chakra becomes very ungrounded and distorted. And you will therefore be much more likely to believe in realities that you can't really see or know over those that you can see with your very own eyes. These fanciful stories will make sense to you because you are in denial of or unconscious of the attacks on your lower chakras. This is an indication that the entire system is out of balance. So what can we do about all of this? Now, if we weren't being attacked with such force and deliberateness, then it would probably be enough to just simply try and keep our chakras in balance. But we have to approach our situation on a cosmic level and understand these attacks on us and why they're happening. For what purpose? The purpose is to break us down on every level so that we can be remade into an artificial synthetic species. So this is what you want to take into account when you're dealing with the subject of your chakras. Now, meditation and strengthening your system of chakras is always great, but it's also important to know the level of forces that are arrayed against you so that you can respond with equal power and intention from within yourself. Here's how you can approach this. Any form of meditation is good for your chakras, and meditations that focus on your chakras are good whenever you feel you need them. But you don't have to do a chakra meditation every single day. See, it's not as though you need to change whatever practices you are already doing. You definitely do not want to approach this out of fear and defensiveness. That would be completely counterproductive, and it's not necessary. Do not underestimate the immense power of awareness. Awareness is like vision, it's like sight. And we all know how powerful even our physical sight is. See, once you recognize what the controllers are doing to break down and ultimately destroy our human system of chakras, your attitude towards your entire body is going to change. You will probably find yourself making positive physical changes naturally because those changes will make a lot more sense to you now. The simple awareness of all this will instantly empower you because that awareness will shift your consciousness into a much greater presence and ownership of yourself. It will shift you into sovereignty because now you can see. See, the controllers rely on unconsciousness in order to get away with what they're doing. Just by understanding what I've shared with you today, your consciousness automatically grows and expands. Your power increases. Your attitude toward your spiritual practices and evolution will change because you will be so much more present. See, it's not that we need to fight against this. These controllers are just thrashing around with all of this craziness that I've described to you throughout this video. But they're like kind of desperate because they need for us not to notice any of it. What we need to do is to more fully embody ourselves. I mean, these controllers are going to do whatever they do because they actually don't have a whole lot of options because they can't create anything on their own. That's why they're so destructive. But we can eliminate our vulnerability by seeing exactly what is going on. Once you see it, it's only natural to enter your body at a much higher level of consciousness. You almost can't stop yourself from doing so because it's so natural. It's kind of like if you suddenly notice a fire at your feet, you're just going to naturally move away from it. But if you don't see it, you might actually get burned. See, that's how simple this really is. So I would suggest that you just consider what I've said and notice if it somehow begins to change your perspective on yourself. Notice if you naturally approach yourself with greater power and resolve. And then just continue with your evolution and with whatever practices have meaning for you. But you never want to approach this situation with fear. There's nothing to fear when you are awake because you know exactly what's going on. When you know what's going on, you can actually see how really unhinged and out of control these crazy controllers really are. They really are kind of a mess. Do you know how much power your intention alone has to protect you? And the thing is, you can't have intention about things that you cannot see. So now that you can see, just let your natural intention to own yourself and own your energy be the thing that makes you invulnerable to these controllers and their stupid, destructive attacks. Because it's really quite natural to want to own yourself, especially when you see that these ridiculous forces are trying to take you down. See, here's the thing. Our intention is actually more powerful than theirs. That's because our intention is built on the natural forces of light in this universe. The controller's intentions are built on basically nothing. Their so-called foundation is darkness, which is literally the absence of light. And you can't build much on an absence. This is why they rely on lies and manipulation and on using us to get what they want. See how simple it really is? Just remember that when you are in your natural state, you have access to all the power you need. So focus on that and just continue your journey of ascension and evolution. And if you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you feel could really benefit from this information. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because I am here every Tuesday with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.